Okay, thank you. So let's just take a quick roll call.
Director Fedori,
Here.
Director Askew,
Here.
Director Burke. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to item number 3, public communications. Any public, do you have anybody from the public?
None on mic.
All right, thank you. We'll close item number 3 and move on to item number 4. Item number 4.1 is approve the personal committee meeting minutes. Any questions or any feedback from anyone related to the meeting minutes? If not, I'll move that we approve the personal committee meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Oh, I think we have to do a roll call, Chaps. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yes, I'm sorry. My apologies, yes.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote then.
Director Askew,
Aye.
Director Fedori.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, item number 2 is, item number 4.2 is, review the revised personnel policies related to employee job duties and pay schedules. This is, Berta,
Yes.
yours, please go ahead.
So at the July Personnel Committee meeting, the Personnel Committee reviewed the policies before you and provided suggestions or recommendations for revisions. The revisions are appearing on the page 1 of the job descriptions, work performance reviews and rate increases and promotions policy. This addition was made at the request or suggestion of Director Rudascu. And I believe page 3, Director Kaduri, you had suggested that we clarify who is responsible for awarding the pay step advancements. And so we revised the policy to make it clear that it's the department manager or the person's manager who awards those pay increases.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anything else to report on this item?
That's all I have.
Okay, appreciate it. All right, I did want to, at least I had a I'll start off, Randy, and then I'll open it up, but I did want to at least comment on the sentence over here which says, permanent changes to the job class pay schedule require classification and compensation studies supporting the change and board approval. I just wanted to reflect that it looks like board approval is needed to proceed with the compensation study changes, right?
To proceed with pay changes to permanent pay changes to a job class.
But our board approval is not needed for doing a compensation study.
I don't believe so. It hasn't been a practice in the past, as long as it's within the general manager.
Okay. Okay, then I think that incentive is fine, because I thought like the whole thing required board approval, meaning the classification and the compensation study would require board approval, so I just had a different wording, like way to word it, but if that's the case, then I think we're good with it. But that's all that I had, but I appreciate you providing the red lines over here to support what feedback we get provided. Any other comments on this item number 4.2? I see like a clicking of the head, there's no other comment. So is there, what is the action on this? Or
I believe you would approve it, you then move it forward to the board, or?
okay, so I recommend that we move forward with the approval of this item and bring it to the board for any additional discussion.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. Thank you for the chance to review it and for bringing it back with the red lines. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Thank you. So we'll take a roll call vote.
Director Askew,
Aye.
Director Fedori.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And item number, sorry, I think the paper here. 4.3 is the draft compensation philosophy. And that is also Berkeley.
Yes,
Please go ahead.
thank you. So at the same meeting in July, during the review of the policies related to employee compensation, Director Ruascu inquired as to whether ReGen had a formal compensation philosophy. I shared with the personnel committee the past practice and informed you that ReGen did not have a formal compensation philosophy. But that the practice had been to conduct compensation studies. We had a past practice of awarding compensation based on market median. The committee suggested that we establish or bring forward a draft compensation philosophy for your review. Director Regascu had suggested that the County of Monterey had a formal document. So I did some research. I actually pulled the county's comp philosophy and used theirs as a template for developing ours. As I understood, the goal of establishing a formal compensation philosophy for ReGen was to assist us in developing competitive pay that is based on market data and to ensure that the comp plan is fiscally responsible and meets the needs of ReGen in regards to recruitment, retention of qualified staff. The draft plan before you provides that employees are recognized for the level and scope of work performed and that they are paid on a fair market competitive basis that allows ReGen to recruit, retain high quality staff. And also it provides that internal relationships of salaries are based upon objective factors resulting in equity across the organization. I'm happy to walk through the draft plan before you. And share some of the methodologies that we pulled into the draft plan from the previous total compensation studies that have been conducted over the years. Most recent was in 2024. Those total comp studies use standard methodologies, and they have been using the same methodologies for at least 10 years. We probably have done maybe 5 comp studies in the last 10 years. And so I pulled in a lot of those specific details into our comp philosophy draft. And I put it before you to review, walk through it together, or answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, I have a couple of comments in here, but before I do that, let me ask, you if, would you like, Berta to review the entire policy step by step? Is there any desire to do that? It looks like that's not the case, so, and I don't intend you to do that either, so, I think I'll just pass on my comments. First of all, thank you for taking the time to actually reach out to the county. Seems like we're at least looked at the county policies and bringing this back together really at a short notice. I don't think this came in like not too long ago, so thank you. I'm supportive of the changes generally. I think my questions are more just my understanding, if nothing else. So the section for compensation in section 4, it says to measure ReGen's market competitiveness, ReGen conducts compensation studies every 3 to 5 years. Is this just standard, meaning we board approval automatically every 3 to 5 years we're doing compensation studies?
Yes, thank you. Good question. And the reason why I'm with you at Felipe, I didn't want to set a specific timeline is because we tie it to the contract expiration, labor contract expiration. So we want to make sure that we are conducting the studies a few months prior to negotiations so that we have current data. And so it depends on the term of the contract. Some contracts, are 3 years, some of them are 5 years, and it makes most sense to perform these studies right prior to negotiations, to have current data.
Okay, so it's more like MOUs are happening
Yeah.
just before the MOU. Okay, got it.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, the next one was, section 6.3. All right, so section 6.3 says, actually, the way it reads is that there are some certain criteria you're using to set up minimums of how many matches are there for comparables. And if not, ReGen will use internal comparisons, right?
Right.
I personally, correct me again if I'm wrong, is that there's baseline data for, broadly speaking, that the Bureau of Labor Statistics maintains. So should we include something in here to suggest that it's not just ReGen using internal comparisons, but ReGen will use broadly published kind of data, maybe NAICS codes that reflect the waste management industry, et cetera.
Yeah, that's a great point. Definitely that can be added, and included as part of the evaluation criteria.
Okay,
There is that, and then there's also the Economic Research Institute, which is, actually that is already, incorporated in the total comp studies.
okay,
They do pull data from them.
okay. I just didn't want it to sound as if like, if nothing's available, we'll just do our own internal thing.
Okay,
It still needs to be based on some broader baseline data, and that's all that I wanted to showcase in that.
what was the,
So it's
It's
section 6, which is benchmark classifications, and it's item number 3.
okay. And what was the name of the, national?
So I had
The
BLS.
Okay, got it.
And then, it says in, item number 9, review date, this policy will be reviewed for continuance every 4 years. I just wanted to know, is there, I mean, is this the 4th year that we're reviewing this, or when was it last reviewed?
It has never, this is a brand new, formal
Okay.
compensation philosophy, so it's at your discretion. If this is adopted at this month's board meeting, then you can tell us how frequently, and we can roll it into this document, how frequently you want to review it.
Okay, yeah, first of all, I would say more broadly speaking, I've not seen a compensation philosophy per se in my 4 or 5 years of public service existence.
Okay,
So I think it's good that we're having this, we're good that the county is doing something similar. I think this just keeps everybody, kind of like grounded on how we're actually doing this. And possibly we can refine it as we move along, so this is great. Just one final question, sorry.
Sure.
Is that, do you think, and this is just a broader, open-ended question. I see ReGen working under the framework of the broad operating principles or operating guidelines that the board had approved. And it seems like it was done 10 years ago or 15 years ago, we just did it like now. Do you think those broad brushstrokes, technically, we made some changes there. That should filter into this compensation philosophy too, right? I mean, technically, like, kind of like funneling it through.
yeah, so it's the overall or overarching organizational, target, I guess, or, what do we call it, our priorities, organizational priorities. I did revert and pull into this document the organizational priority that I felt tied more into employee compensation. And that is the stewardship. So we have the 3 priorities: engagement, stewardship, and innovation.
Okay.
In the introduction of the compensation philosophy, I referenced that the compensation philosophy supports ReGen's strategic priority and value of stewardship, ensuring our continued fiscal and operational sustainability and commitment to equity and fairness. In regard to the guiding principle document that was just reviewed and approved, there is only one element of that I found that specifically relates to employee compensation, might relate to employee compensation. And that is, the clause that speaks to, labor, who have the regions or the organization's, strategy for how work is conducted. And so the guiding principle establishes that work will be performed, primarily or, by, in-house employees.
Okay. All right, I appreciate, I mean, so it seems like there's some tie in there. The only comment I wanted to make was, I don't know what the future holds in 10 years and how things will change dramatically, which will change our operating principles, which may change automatically a set of documents, perhaps this one too. That's all. But I, thank you for the effort that you put into get this going. I know, like, Felipe, you had a question or?
Yeah, I just wanted to reference the review date, if 4 years is okay, or whatever number we determine that we include. As needed, item as well, so if we needed to. Review the policy sooner than later, we don't point at a policy that says there's still 2 years on the timetable for that review to happen, so. We can just include a clause that will include when we need to, open it up, yeah.
All right,
That's
that's
it.
right. Great, so I've been doing the talking, any other comments from the other board members?
Yeah, this is
Yes.
Wendy. I can jump in.
Go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Thank you. I just, as like a starting point, I think this is a really great kind of, one of the things that I really appreciate about the way that ReGen values our employees and has a commitment to, has had a commitment to pay everyone fairly and to negotiate such that we are working to bring all of our employee groups up to a fair compensation to a fair compensation rate. It's one of the things I've been really proud of at ReGen, and I think that being able to articulate those values and articulate what that compensation philosophy is into a document will help us remain committed to the work that our team has done to put that into practice. So thank you for drafting this in the way that you have. And I think one of the reasons that the compensation philosophy or one of the ways that it's been helpful is that when we go into negotiations with our different, the county has dozens of different labor groups that we negotiate with. It's been helpful for us in that it puts everyone on the same page in terms of what our negotiation, like what the baseline for our negotiations are. When we're talking about, what is included in our, if we're going to do a benchmark or a comparator organization, a compensation study, who is it that we're looking to compare? And that's actually something that we've negotiated on. It's become a negotiating point. Do we include Santa Cruz or do we not include Santa Cruz? Do we include Oxnard or do we not include Oxnard? And so I don't know that that's ever been something that we at ReGen have had to get into that level of detail about, but having it documented and being really clear about who is it that we're including and who is it that we might include as comparator agencies, and then to be really clear about what are the percentages that we're talking about. And then the other piece in here that I'm appreciating, even if it is at this point just documenting what our current practices are we just, when we're doing our compensation studies, we're just talking about wages. We're not talking about total compensation. And again, at the county, where we offer an incredible benefit package that includes full, in most cases, full health benefits for the entire family, our compensation studies are not total compensation, they're only based on salary. So to be very clear about that, the total compensation, when we look at retirement, deferred compensation, life insurance, health insurance, paid time off, vehicle allowances, things like that are all in addition to what that, 50% base wage salary comparisons might look like. I think having it documented will allow the board and our management and our labor reps to be able to engage in dialogue as we move forward, all operating from a single document where if we're going to make changes, we know what the baseline is that we're making changes from. So I think this is a great step forward, and I just want to say thank you to the team for getting the current status quo documented so that we have it and can then move forward. And I anticipate that it will be something that the board will be interested in. I also think it would be something that our workforce and labor reps will be interested in taking a look at as well, and they may have some feedback for us. So whether we include that as an informal discussion or whether we wait and include that as something that we formally talk about during our next open negotiation period, we can, I'll leave that to our legal team to advise on. The other question I just have is in terms of for compensation principles, if there is any requirement for us to consult with labor, given that we do have represented groups, if there is any requirement for us to have a conversation with labor, I want to make sure we don't miss any required meet and confers that might come with adopting a document like this or a policy like this. So just wanted to ask that question as an open question for direction. But thank you.
So I don't believe the establishing the compensation philosophy is a meet and confer. It's I think it's at the discretion of the board, as it is a guidance document for how the board and the organization wants to approach employee compensation. What happens in labor negotiations is more specific to wages and working conditions. Obviously that we do negotiate and discuss those types of issues with the union. I will add that the past practices that are documented in this document, it has been ReGen's past practice to engage with the union in defining the comparator agencies. So the list of comparator agencies that you see in this document, we arrived at this list with input from the union. It has been the same list of comparator agencies for the last 10 years. And it really hasn't changed. Each year before we do a comp study, we actually review that list with the union again, and it's been pretty consistent. It hasn't changed.
And I would just add that when I read this, fact that it's labeled compensation philosophy and not like a compensation policy is a thing. But I will say legal, if there's any, Deborah, you think there's anything here which needs us to talk to other parties before approval, please never.
Okay, yeah, Berta and I will check in about that, but I tend to agree with her. Yeah.
And I think Berta and the team, you guys have included in comparator too, like input from the bargaining unit representative, so technically we're covered. But yeah, thank you for the comment, Dan. It looks like it was like in the same boat as the other agenda item as to what's the next step here. So you have our feedback, right? So
I think we bring it to the board in draft form receive any more feedback,
Uh-huh.
and then isolate the changes that we feel are value added.
Okay,
And then we can bring back a final draft for a final review.
okay, sounds good. All right, with that direction, looks like we need to provide approval to that. All right. Okay, so let's take a roll call vote for providing approval to the staff to move forward with continuing to develop this compensation philosophy and bringing it back to the board for their input.
Director Askew?
Good.
That's an aye. Gotta get my audio there. Aye.
Director Pedori?
Yeah, here you go, 2 thumbs up. All right,
Motion passes.
thanks. All right, with that, we're going on to item number 5, general manager communications.
I have none at this time, Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right, item number 6 is discuss future agenda items. Does anybody wish to put in any future agenda items? Open question. I don't have any at this point in time, but anybody else? If not, I think that brings us to item number 7, we're adjourning. Thank you all for your time today.